Okay, while it's loading, number 1. Who can tell me the fraction for that picture, for that model, Mila? 11 over 100. 11 100ths. How do I write that as a decimal, Noelle? 0.11. Since I stopped it, I have to go back and log in. Give me just a second. If I minimize it and start the recording, it kicks me out. Okay. So like they said, the fraction, it didn't ask for, but I told you to add it in. The fraction would be 11 over 100. 0.11 in words, 11 hundredths. What should my work look like over here to get an answer of 1/10 times as much, Michaela?
You have to go to 5.
Okay.
The 10.
T on the left.
And then H on the right.
Okay, how do we know that the T goes on the left?
Because it's closer to the decimal.
Because in a place value chart, yeah, it's closer to the decimal, so it's to the left of hundredths. Now, how do I decide how to draw my arrow, Emma E?
The order that it has symbols.
Yeah, it's saying we're comparing the hundredths place to the tenths place. Our arrow is pointing to the left, so that tells me my answer. It is 1/10 times as much. So what it's saying in this particular number is the value of that 1 is 10 times as much as the 1/10 times as much as the value of the 1 to its left. Let's talk about value for a second. What is the value of that 1? The value of that first 1, Brennan? 1/10, which as a decimal would be 0.1. What is the value of that 1? Caleb? 1/100th, so that would be 0.01. So that's kind of what it's saying in a lot simpler way, is we're saying that this number is 1/10 times as much that number. Okay, let's go ahead and turn the page. Use the model to write a decimal in standard form, word form, then complete the sentence. Who can give me the fraction? Tyson, can you give me the fraction? 66 over 1,000. Okay. Decimal is written there, 0.066. Cam, why did I have to put a 0 in there? Yeah, because for it to be in the thousandths place, I need three decimal places, and 66 is a 2-digit number, so I had to fill in a 0 to push it over. What should my work look like, Madison? I have my 2 lines. Okay, an H and a T because we are comparing the thousandths and the hundredths place. And on a place value chart, it goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths. What about my arrow, Easton T? How do I decide on my arrow? Yeah, so I start here and I'm going to that one. Since it's pointing to the left, my answer is 1/10 times as much. Number 3 is down there at the bottom. It says, what is the value of the digit in the hundredths place? So Aubrian, if we have a 4 in the hundredths place, what is its value? 400ths, which we could write as a decimal or as a fraction. Let's go ahead and fill it in as both. So if you had just one or the other, go ahead and write it both ways. If you have a 4 in the hundredths place, the value is 400ths. And we know a couple different ways to write that. Questions on that one? Now, the one under it asks about what? Callie, can you read me the one under it?
The value of the digit in the hundredths place is how many times as much as the value of the digit in the tenths.
Okay, so we are comparing tenths and hundredths, so you should have it set up like that. Mila, where should my arrow start?
It should start going to the left.
So it should start at hundredths?
Yeah.
Was hundredths listed first in my problem?
No. But yes.
Down below. I can't see the problem. You have to look in your book.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so then we're going that way. So she says it's pointing to the left. So what is my answer, Arabella, for the second part of 3?
1/10 times as much.
Yeah, 1/10 times as much. 1/10 times as much. And again, it's referring to this number right here, 0.44. So it's saying the value of this digit, which what is the value of that digit? Who can give me the value of a 4 in the hundredths place? Kylie? 400ths. Oops, that's 4,000. 400ths is 1/10 times as much the value of that digit, which is 4/10. Now, decimals in our brains don't always work well together. Raise your hand if you like money. Okay? Money will make more sense to you. If we're dividing $1 into tenths, what kind of coin am I thinking about, Tyson? A dime. So if I have 4/10 money, how much money do I have? Arabella? 4/10 of $1. 4 dimes. I have 4 dimes, which is 40 cents. What if I have 400ths of $1? What coin am I thinking about, Dylan? Pennies. So how much money do I have, Emma? 4 pennies. So really what I'm saying is 4 cents is 1/10 times as much, 40 cents. What did we say we could do yesterday? Instead of multiplying by 1/10, it's the same thing as doing what? Madison? Dividing by 10. Is 40 divided by 10 4? Yeah, so the money side of it makes sense. The decimals are still a little fuzzy, but if I can relate it to money, hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let's go on down to number 4. A small piece of metal weighs 0.77 grams. What is the value of the digit in the tenths place? It gives it to me as a decimal. Colby, can you give me that number as a fraction? Number 4.
The bottom one?
Nope, the top one.
77.
Nope. So you have, it's talking about the value in the tens place. So we're just focusing on that. If we have a 7 in the tens place, what is its value? I don't want you to give me an answer right now. I just want you to give me words. If you have a 7 in the tens place, what is its value? Just smash those words together. Easton? Noel? 7 tenths. If you have a 7 in the tens place, the value is 7 tenths. What if you have a 7 in the hundredths place? 7 hundredths. Okay, so the fraction here would be 7 over 10. The second part, we had to draw our picture. We are comparing the tenths place to the hundredths place. And we're starting at the tenths and we're moving to the hundredths. Which way is my arrow pointing, Noel?
To the right.
To the right. So Caleb, what should my answer be?
10 times more.
Yeah, 10 times more or 10 times as much. Now, number 5 made you think. It just wanted you to think of a decimal number. I'm just going to put up some blanks up here. That a digit is 1/10 times as much as another digit. Who thinks they have an answer that works? There's millions of answers. Dylan, what'd you come up with?
0.88.
0.88 works. Emma E. What'd you have?
I have 0.
Okay. Brendan?
0.44.
0.44. Michaela?
0.1.
Who can add to hers to make hers work? Arabella?
0.11.
0.11. I want a decimal with more than 2 digits that would work. Callie, can you think of one?
0.033.
Okay, that works. Audrey?
0.055.
Okay. Cam? 0.333. Okay. What is the criteria for our number to work? Colby? So it's saying the one digit has to be 1/10 times as much as another digit. So what's the criteria, Cam? Yeah, if there's a duplicate number right next to each other, because this one is 1/10 times that one, the one to its left. This one is 1/10 times that one's 1. But that only works if the digit is the same. So I want you to say yes or no. Does that one work?
Yes. No.
Even though there's 2 8s?
No.
Why doesn't that one work? Michaela?
Because the numbers aren't all the same.
Yeah, well, they have to be next to each other. Okay, let me clear that. Pull it up again. What about?
Yes.
Yes, and it can. That's true even if we hop that decimal point. The tenths place is 1/10 times as much as the ones place. What about?
No. Yes.
Yes, because those 9s. This one is 1/10 times as much as that. Okay? So that was a tricky one, but I told you I just wanted you to try it. I need everybody to get out a piece of loose leaf. You can put your book away. want you to title it IXL Practice. And then at the top, I'm going to make a very simple place value chart that I want you to copy. And I just did the first 4 places. I did ones and then the 3 decimal places. Next is the 10,000ths and then 100,000ths. Yeah, but we typically, if they get out that far, they round it to a prettier decimal. Okay, then I want you to write G.6. We are going to do some practice together in G.6. It's these same problems, but they look a little bit different. So I'm going to help you kind of change what we did yesterday and make it work for what you're going to be doing today. So just grab one from right back there. Okay, I'm going to pull up IXL. So these numbers look different. It says complete the sentence. Blank is 10 times as much as 0.007. Our work is going to look very similar. It's just going to be slightly different. So for our work, I want you to copy down the number given. Now, remember, the first thing given is our starting point. So do we know where we're starting? No, because that's what we're looking for, is what number am I starting with? My end point is here. Which of those numbers is important to me? Kylie?
7.
The 7. So I want you to underline that 7. That is my end point. So that is where my arrow is pointing when I'm done. If this says 10 times as much, which way should I see my arrow pointing? If my answer says 10 times, if my problem says 10 times as much, which way should my arrow be pointing, Arabella? To the right. So now this is where it's a little bit different. To make my arrow point to the right, where would it have to be coming from? Emma? So you're saying over here, so if I loop it around that way, is it my arrow pointing to the right? My arrow's pointing which way now? To the left. And we all said we had to make it point to the right. Mila?
The 100th place?
Yeah, from that 0 right there. So let's go ahead and draw it in. So it means I need a value in that one that is 10 times greater than 7 thousandths. What does my digit have to be, Arabella?
7.
It has to be a 7. I'm going to write that under here. Is that my whole answer?
No.
Who thinks they know what my answer is? And again, this is new. That's why we're doing it together. Madison?
0.077.
Not the extra 7, because we're just talking about the value of that digit. The value of this digit is 7 hundredths. So this is what we will type in. Okay, because we're not talking about the whole number. We're talking about the value of each individual digit. And again, it is new, or it's just kind of a different way of thinking about it. Type those in. I did. I think it's just delayed.
No, you didn't need it. Because it's still blinking if it would be loaded. You didn't click it.
It's frozen, guys. It will catch up.
Is that the loading bar at the top of the blue thing?
I'm not sure.
There you go. Yeah, it's right.
Okay, copy down this one. Start by copying down the number that we're given, 0.008. And remember, this is my end point. So with my arrow, that's where I'm ending up. Just draw a straight arrow, because now we have to decide, should my arrow be pointing to the right or should it be pointing to the left? Sophia? To the right, why? Because it says 10 times. So Sophia, where do I have to loop it from for it to show that it's coming from the right? Yeah, so I'm going to start at that one and go ahead and make my arrow around. Now, that would have to have the same digit. What would my digit have to be, Mila?
8.
An 8. But then I need the value of that digit. Callie?
0.08.
Good job. 0.08 is then what we would type in. Colby?
Decimal point by the 8.
That's just a period for the end of the sentence. Okay, 1/10. So again, we're going to start at our end zone, 0.06. So that's the number I'm ending at. Oops, I made that backwards. That's the one I'm ending at. If it's saying blank is 1/10 times as much, what should I see, Cam? If it's 1/10 times as much, what should I see? Should my arrow be pointing to the left or to the right if it says 1/10? To the left. What would I have to do to make my arrow point to the left? Would I loop it that way or would I loop it this way? So if I loop it this way, would you say that arrow's pointing to the left? Nope. So it's kind of backwards thinking. That's why we're doing it together. So if I do it like that, do you say that arrow is pointing to the left? Okay? So now I need a digit there. What would the digit have to be, Dylan? It would have to be a 6, but I need the value of that digit, Michaela. It would be this one right here. Thousandths. So how do I write 6 thousandths? Yep, 0.006. How else could I write that number? How else could I write 6 thousandths, Kylie? As a fraction. I'm going to see if it would take that just because I'm curious. We know the answer is 6 thousandths. We'll see if it would take it as a fraction because it has the same value. The only reason it may not is because they give me the problem as a decimal, so it usually wants the answer in the same form. We'll just see. It's thinking about it. Oh, does it say wrong? Yeah, it's just really slow. Oh. So, it's saying the correct answer is 6,000. We gave the correct answer. We just gave it in a different form. So now we know. And typically, if they give you a decimal in the problem, it wants your answer as a decimal, even though it could be written both ways. Okay, I won't be able to do that today because I'm getting ready to leave. But okay, so what I want you to do is the last few minutes, I want you to try and log into IXL. Work through as many of these as you can. It is not homework. I just want you to get through as many as you can. Mila. Yeah, do your work on this piece of paper. Don't get out a new one. Your only homework tonight is to make sure your weekly worksheet is done by tomorrow.